Hello to you from wherever you are joining us from all over the world. I'm so glad that you're here today. I'm going to put up a warning right up front that there may be some salty language today. This topic is one that I am very, very familiar with. It's definitely not something that I enjoy talking about, but this is an important topic, and it's very, very common problem amongst all families in all kinds of different situations. I'm talking about family conflict. I've been getting many questions on this topic, and many of you are sacrificing your time, your own money, sacrificing your job, and things that you used to love to do. And you feel like you're being neglected and you're unappreciated. Family members may be questioning your intentions, or even mom and dad might be complaining to other family members that you're taking over or that they don't want or need your help, even though clearly they do need assistance. These are all very common situations, so you are not alone. My name is Debra, and I'd like to welcome any newcomers to Answers About Alzheimer's, where we are a family here, and we would all love for you to subscribe and join us in our journey together. Hopefully today we will have some DBTs or dementia breakthroughs. If you do have any, please put DBT down in the comments, dementia breakthrough. Put that down in the comments for me. My family conflict goes way back to when I was a child growing up. I am definitely not going to go that far back. I am not ready to share that part of my story with you, but what I will tell you is that my brother and I have never, ever had any type of relationship. My brother is several years older than me. But the problems that I'm going to reference here for this particular topic began in our adult life, or so it seemed. Later, I do discover that most of this does stem from a long, long ago jealousy that I never knew existed. My mom ended up paying the price for that. I feel like I'm getting slightly off track here, but my point is every family has their bullshit. I want you to know that whatever crap you're going through with your shitty family members is very common amongst probably everybody here. A lot of this stuff is out of our control. And that is something that we have to learn to deal with. So today, my goal is to provide you with some tools to either try to make the situation better, or for the sake of the common goal, or to provide you with some tools to let it go, move on, and stop beating yourself up over it. Because the truth of the matter is, you could be a world-renowned psychologist and still have bullshit family members that no matter what you do, you're not going to get along with them. There is also another video that I have that deals with some of this topic that I would recommend that you watch, and it's called Successful Visits for the Holidays. So I think that most of you watching have heard my story, but for those of you who have not, it's called What I Wish I Knew Before My Brother Killed My Mom. We say we can't reason with people with dementia, and we can't argue with people with dementia. Sometimes we have to take that same advice towards family members, because I think that some of our family members have just as much brain damage as those who have dementia. There are some people that you just can't have a rational conversation with. You can't convince them to see things from another perspective. They're so set in their own ways and their own beliefs that no matter how hard you try, even with hard facts, nothing will change. We as dementia caregivers learn how to validate the person with dementia's feelings, and we can use these same techniques when we're talking to disgruntled family members. Remember that all behaviors are a reaction to something. They are reacting to fear or feeling like a loss of control or a lack of understanding or jealousy or greed. I think I could go on, but you get the point. Today, we're going to talk about what you should do if you can't agree on something. You might be in the situation where you are the main caregiver and you're doing most, if not all of the work, and other family members are not involved, but they have a really big opinion about everything that you're doing. I see posts about this all the time. In many cases, there is one sibling, usually a daughter, who takes on the main role and is doing most of the heavy lifting. They are cooking, they are cleaning, they're following up on doctor's appointments. They're the ones getting educated about the disease. They're the ones helping with bathing and everything else that comes along with this caregiver journey. Giving up their job, giving up their friends, their social life. The brothers and sisters may think that mom and dad are totally fine and they don't need any care. They could be in denial, or maybe they're just not around enough to understand the magnitude of the situation. But they sure have an opinion about every single thing that you're doing, and it's all wrong. You might be having disagreements about whether or not mom and dad need to move to a memory care or nursing home. Oftentimes, when these battles begin, we forget the true outcome. What is it that mom and dad want, and can they afford it? What are their wishes? Everyone seems to have a different idea of what the best care situation is. When you're struggling with family conflict, keep coming back to that question. Keep coming back to the outcome of what it is that mom or dad wants, and how can we do our best to make that happen? And we all need to be on the same page about that goal. We all have to have the same common goal. That has to stay and remain the focus. As much as possible, mom and dad should still have a say in their care plan and their future if they are safe and cognitively able to do so. The first thing that we should be talking about is who is power of attorney or POA and who is the healthcare proxy, because the healthcare proxy legally is the one who makes these types of decisions. How much care? Who's going to provide the care? Do they need to move to a care community? These types of questions should be left up to the healthcare proxy. And the power of attorney is responsible for paying those bills if mom or dad are unable to do so on their own. Now, another thing we need to clear up quickly, and I will do another video on this, but power of attorney and healthcare proxy only kick in if and when the person is unable to make these decisions on their own. And sometimes this means having them declared incompetent in court. So if mom and dad are not on the same page as you, this can get pretty sticky. But that's another video. So let's talk about a little bit about the caregiving role. Some people can't or don't want to do the caregiving. You never want to force a person who does not want to provide care to do so, because that care will not be given in a good way. It could end up in an elder abuse situation. So if someone doesn't want to be a caregiver, they should not be a caregiver, period. Another consideration is some people just can't be a caregiver. Maybe they live in another state, or maybe they have the type of job or career that they cannot step away from. Or maybe they have small children of their own, or mental health issues, or physical health issues that may prevent them from helping out in the caregiving capacity. The person who is sacrificing the most amount of time should be the decision maker, because this person is around mom or dad the most, and they are the ones that will be able to evaluate or assess the best plan of care. Having one person in charge or as the team leader is a great approach. But if your family won't agree to that, then we have to take a different approach. Let's start by saying that the person or the people who are not involved in the caregiving process, they may feel left out. They don't know all the ins and outs like you do. So maybe you could start an email chain or a text thread where you could send updates once a day, letting family members know what you're doing, why you're doing it, and how mom and dad are doing. This might help with some of the friction if they feel like they're not being included. And down the road, they may have a clearer understanding of how much care mom and dad really do need. Make sure that these communications are kept positive and professional. And I don't mean you can't say how bad the situation. What I mean is no bitching and no complaining. That will not solve anything. This texting or email can also be used for documentation if things get nasty down the road. Like, I had to pay a plumber to fix the toilet and it cost $200. I paid $120 in groceries, and so on. Good documentation can save your ass. Trust me. Document everything. Another problem is that some family members just don't understand the dementia symptoms. They just don't have the knowledge. Obviously, I'm going to tell you to send them a copy of my book, Forget Me Not, available on Amazon. You can also send them a few videos from this channel. Now, again, you don't want to come off like, well, maybe we do want to, but we're not going to come off as bossy or a know-it-all. We're trying to avoid conflict. Instead, say, hey, I noticed that mom was repeating herself a lot lately, and I came across this really cool video. I'll send it to you. I'd love to hear your thoughts after you watch it. See how you're educating, but you're also asking for their input. Brilliant. You don't really have to give a shit what they think, but just act like you do. Pretend. It's easier than fighting. So remember that we're avoiding conflict. We have enough going on with our person with dementia to have to worry about all this other shit. One thing that I hope you will really try for me, you've got to be okay with others not liking your decisions. It's bound to happen, but they don't get it. Your focus has to be on you and your loved one. Family conflict happens when different opinions clash, when family members have different beliefs and jump to wrong conclusions, when family members have misunderstandings, or if they're just being a dick, like my brother's case. Let's face it, we as families have a long history of ongoing conflict. Some relationships are just unhealthy. We have accumulated bad patterns and habits over a long period of time. This cannot be about winning. It has to be about solving a problem. And you've heard it before. Sometimes we just have to agree that we're going to disagree. So we talked a little bit about this before, but the causes can be jealousy of the siblings' relationship with mom and dad. There could be a lack of education of the disease, and anosognosia, where mom doesn't believe she even has a problem, in which case you can send your siblings the video on anosognosia. The parent might be making up stories of abuse or stealing due to their dementia. Your siblings may see their inheritance going down the drain, or feel that mom and dad are spending their inheritance unnecessarily. And they could also just be in denial that mom or dad actually needs any help. Whatever the reasons may be, we need to try to figure out how to try to resolve or at least reduce this family conflict. Some things are in our control and some things are not. This is something I learned from Dr. Phil. Dr. Phil back in the day used to say, "How's that working for you?" The first thing to put an end to conflict is by not getting defensive and remaining calm. Try lowering your expectations of others. Try asking family members what they would suggest. Most of the time, people get angry because they feel like they're not being heard. Try saying, I would love to hear any ideas or options or input that you may have about my caregiving decisions. My caregiving decisions are based on what mom and dad want, what I am able to do, what I am willing to do, and what I'm financially able to do. Try to listen and acknowledge what they are saying. Don't interrupt them. Try to keep emotions out of it. Respect their point of view and make sure that they know that you respect their point of view. And for God's sakes, don't bring up shit from the past that is completely unrelated to this issue. I would highly recommend that you tackle one problem at a time and resolve it. Don't jump from problem to problem without solving anything. One thing at a time. Remind yourself and your siblings that nothing has to be a permanent solution. Things can always be changed or adjusted. Try to find common ground. Actually say things like, that's great that we agree on that. Or, I'm glad we both see this as a problem. We're both smart people and we can figure this out. Try to make them say yes or that they agree as much as possible. If a solution is agreed upon, say, let's just make sure, and then repeat it back to them and have them agree with you. If your siblings are trying to blame you for something, you could try saying something like, I could see how you would think that. Or, let's stay focused on the problem and the solution. Or, can we get back on topic? Or, I know this is hard for both of us. How about, can we both commit to doing this for mom? Here's a good one. Help me understand why you feel this way. Or, no decision has to be forever. Aren't these great? You might want to rewind and write those down. Rehearse them. Seriously, rehearse them. Dementia tears even strong families apart. Death tears family apart. Establish boundaries. Stay focused on the outcome. If you know that an argument is coming, that gives us the opportunity to divert it before it happens. Remember, we can't change other people. We can only change how we react to them. Thanks, Dr. Phil. You could also suggest help from an outside professional like a social worker, a pastor, or a mediator. In special circumstances, get an attorney, and not the same one that mom and dad use. Get your own attorney, one who specializes in guardianships. They've been working with these types of situations for a lot longer than you have. Stay true to yourself. You are doing a great job, and I've got your back. Don't forget, leave me a DBT or dementia breakthrough, or just say hi. I love hearing from you. If you need me, I'm available for one-on-one coaching. And also go to answeraboutalz.org for information on my course, the Certified Master Dementia Strategist course. You will love it. I'll see you next time. Together we can.